Okay, we're going to do an overview of renal tubular cells and answer the questions. What is the anatomy of tubular cells? What are their polar surfaces? And what forces drive solute and water movement? Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Morton, and I'm the noted anatomist. To begin, there is plasma in a glomerular capillary in cross-section. Plasma filters through into Bowman's space and is now called filtrate. That filtrate moves in between tubular cells, so appropriately it's called now tubular fluid. Surrounding tubular cells are peritubular capillaries. The process of reabsorption is when tubular fluid moves from the renal lumen, the lumen of the tubular cells, back through the cells into the peritubular capillaries. Secretion is when substances go from the tubular cells into the tubular fluid. Now, tubular cells, they control a lot. They control volume of fluids in the body, the osmolarity of body fluids, the composition of extra and intracellular fluid, and the pH inside the body. They're not the only ones that do that, but they are primary in helping the body do these things. This is what the tubular cells look like in cross-section. This is what the tubular cells look like in longitudinal section. And what we're going to do to simplify is we're just going to show one half. And so this is a general tubular cell. This could be proximal tubule, loop of Henle, distal tubule, or collecting duct. There is the lumen or urinary side. We typically show it in yellow, and to make it consistent, we always show it to the left of the tubular cells. This is the tubular fluid is derived from the filtrate, and that is what eventually the urine goes into the calyces and then out to the ureter, bladder, and urethra out of the body. That is the apical surface of any of the tubular cells. It's what basically is in contact with the tubular fluid, and that's where transporters are that enable an influx or efflux of solutes. And this is the energy source that allows for these transporters to influx or efflux solutes is sodium. We do this through secondary active transport. So the apical surface of tubular cells controls what enters or leaves tubular fluid by exploiting the gradients created on the basolateral surface. Hold that thought in your gray matter. That'll become very important. There is a tight junction or a claudin. This is an intercellular barrier between tubular cells. It's what separates tissue spaces. Tubular fluid, everything in yellow, from interstitial fluid, everything in gray. And basically, how permeable these tight junctions are differs by nephron segments from proximal tubule, different parts of loop of Henle, distal tubule, and collecting ducts. Now, the basolateral surface, base of the epithelial cells or these tubular cells, and the lateral side, and there it is in the dashed line. This is what faces the interstitium and blood, everything in gray or pink. If an intracellular substance has not crossed the basolateral barrier, meaning any substance inside of a cell, if it has not crossed the basolateral barrier or membrane, it has not entered the body yet. Now there we have in blue sodium potassium ATPase pump. It's what actively pumps 3 sodium out of the cell into the interstitium, gray, and the pink peritubular capillaries, and 2 potassium into the cell, what you see in tan. This is what keeps intracellular sodium low, and this is what maintains the concentration gradient of high sodium outside the cells, high potassium inside the cells. And this is why that's an ATPase in blue, because it requires ATP because we're pumping sodium against its gradient. And potassium against its gradient. This is the engine of all renal tubular transport. You can stimulate the sodium potassium pump or sodium ATPase by insulin or epinephrine. If you have no sodium ATPase, no reabsorption is going to occur anywhere. Inside these general tubular cells, that's cytoplasm. There's the nucleus, and there's again the apical surface faces the urinary side, basolateral surface faces the interstitium or blood peritubular side. The process of reabsorption is taking tubular fluid in yellow through to the interstitium in blood. Secretion is where it goes either from the blood or from the tubular cells into the tubular fluid. Polarity is everything. The tubular epithelial cells are polarized, an apical or basolateral surface, and renal physiology depends on this polarity, and the transport direction matters. Now, transport, transcellular means through the cell, like a transporter or channel. So there's sodium going in, down its gradient, and then goes to the sodium-potassium ATPase that then pumps sodium out of the cell. Paracellular means something goes between the cells, like it depends on how tight or permeable that tight junction is. So like water could diffuse from the tubular fluid side to the interstitium. A symporter, you'll notice that the sodium and glucose is going in the same direction. So a symporter transports two substances across the membrane in the same direction. And typically, sodium is the ion that is used going down its gradient. And then an antiporter is where you can see sodium going in, influx, and a proton going out, or efflux. An antiporter transports two substances across the membrane in the opposite direction. Both of these symporters and antiporters are showing secondary active transport. Now there's the interstitium in gray, and there's the peritubular capillary in pink. And so as blood goes through the peritubular capillary, it then returns through the venous circulation, the renal vein, IVC, back to the heart. Okay. The peritubular capillary is a fenestrated epithelium, and it's a very low pressure system, but a high reabsorption system. One other concept is this three compartment model, which there's the one compartment is the lumen of renal tubules, second compartment is the tubular epithelial cell cytoplasm, and the third compartment is the interstitium and peritubular capillary. You'll notice I put those two together because the peritubular capillary is permeable at fenestrations, or basically openings. Fluid and solutes, water and solutes, diffuse back and forth between the interstitium and peritubular capillary, so we can consider them one compartment. Let's do that again, except in this H and E stain. There is the lumen of a renal tubular cell, so there's tubular fluid in there. The pink circle, the pink space, that's the cytoplasm of a tubular cell. The dark purple circle, that's the nucleus. And then there is the interstitium and peritubular capillary. That's compartment number 3. So some tubular cell concepts. Tubular cells are polarized, an apical versus basolateral membrane. Transport occurs via transcellular or paracellular pathway, and there's a 3-compartment model: tubular fluid, tubular cell, interstitium, and peritubular capillary. And then the sodium ATPase maintains that low intracellular sodium and drives secondary active transport. Every nephron uses these same rules. Every tubule uses these same rules. Only transporters and permeability change. And that, my friends, is tubular cell concepts in a nutshell.